That's just unbelievable, the transformation on that. That's awesome. Got the decals off.
Don't have, well, those ones I had were magnets from our department, some old ones.
Oh yeah?
And I haven't got the new vinyl made yet for it.
Got the CB in there. Now the CB wasn't there.
Nope.
Where'd you get the CB from?
That's some old antique police stuff that I had that I was just waiting for a project, sitting in the garage for the last 5 years.
That is so cool. Does it work?
Yeah, well, I need to hook a siren speaker up to it.
Uh-huh.
But you can...
Look at that, the old interceptor on there.
Crank up the old siren box here. And you can hear it quietly.
Oh yeah. So what is it that you have to hook up?
The PA speaker.
Oh, nice. Oh, this cleaned up nice in here. So what are you going to do with the seats?
Well, I'm going to take it down to a place over on the north side of Des Moines next week. I called them a couple days ago, and they want to take a look at it and see what it take to build a seat that reaches from here to the edge here where the door is. Then on the back, put some type of padding on the back, and then a headliner.
Oh yeah. Take me through to who did what on the vehicle so far.
Okay. Cox Manufacturing here in Altoona, metal manufacturing and fabrication, built this from scratch. I kind of drew out what the meter-made scooters had and the way that was laid out, and he came out and measured up and looked at my pencil sketch, and he says, I like what you're doing, let's do it.
So this whole thing is all custom?
So this is all custom.
Could we open it up and take a look?
It looks a lot like what they did when the meter maids drove them, and I still have part of it to get done. I still need to get the shocks that'll mount here, and kind of a latch mechanism here.
Right.
And then mount the piece of metal that'll work with this little latch handle right there. But he did everything else for me.
That's awesome. Paint job?
Took the thing out to... Well, actually, after the metal got done, I worked part-time down in Pleasantville. So I called up the guy that owns a mechanic shop down there. His name's Wes. He owns Autocrafters. Told him what I was doing and what the project was going to be like. And he says, bring it all up here. Let me see it. So I brought it up there, and he says, I got just the guy that'll do it. He says, I have him build custom race cars for me. He does all my welding, so... He took all the metal pieces, and I kind of showed him how it was supposed to lay out. And when Cox had built the metal, they had left out a set of instructions, like a tester's model.
Right.
And so he kind of looked it over and says, we can do it. So about 2 weeks later, he calls up and says, come get your box. So I went and picked up this big, ugly, stainless steel looking box at the back of my pickup. And I took it down to D.A.R.E Chevrolet, along with the trailer, this thing I had trailered out there. And Tony, the manager at D.A.R.E Brothers, he's always been a real big supporter of our D.A.R.E program and Southeast Polk Rams and the school resource program. He says, yeah, we'll buy into this project. And so took it to the mechanical shop, and they gave it a look over, pulled it into the body shop, and his custom painter, Walt, looked over everything, and within days he had this thing in the paint shop just spraying away on it. And so I brought this bumper here to him. He's like, well, it doesn't really go the way it should. So he just started fabricating what he thought might look good. And he says, well, do you have a trailer? I said, well, not yet. So he got underneath here, he went home, and he built this trailer hitch, and there's a receiver that will go into it. He says, now you can use it for your speed speed camera trailer.
Right.
Or if we had like a motorcycle trailer for parading around. He just did all that stuff extra. The inside was all rusted. There were big holes in the floor. They took that into their shop, and they took this heavy-duty epoxy paint. And he said, this thing could rust out, and that floor will make it through the next World War. So he redid that whole inside. There was no metal here. He built a little custom plate to go over there, so nothing would get inside there. He repainted the inside of the doors, that squirrel cage that goes over the engine. He painted the wall there. So,
And where'd the lighting and the wiring for the cherry on the top come from?
well, the light on top was mine.
Yep.
And the siren inside there and the radio head were all part of the collection I had, just waiting for the right project. I've had that light for probably 18 years, just sitting on a shelf.
And tell us about the mechanicals. Who was in charge of the mechanicals?
Southeast Polk High School has an auto mech shop.
Yep.
And these kids love projects. They'll take something that doesn't run and they'll tinker with it. And they saw this thing in their auto mech garage. And they said that's pretty cool. So these kids, they rebuilt the carburetor the best they could. They did the original welding on the frame. This frame was all welded or rusted through. And they took the frame that Cox originally built, and they welded that to the existing
All the kids
frame.
did all that.
The kids did the welding
awesome.
on the frame. The kids did the engine mechanical work to get the thing running, and they did what they could. And so when that was all finished, I went and picked it up and took it to the next step. So Southeast Polk Auto Mechanic Shop was responsible for most of the engine. I got some parts from Iowa Golf Cars, or Golf Cars of Iowa.
Yep.
They did. They gave me the parts at cost because they thought that was a pretty neat project.
Yeah.
Like I said, Cox Manufacturing. I'd say there's probably $3,000 worth of metal on here that he just said, "This is neat. Let's do it." D.A.R.E. Brothers Chevrolet. That's an $1,100 paint job, all for the D.A.R.E. program.
Wow.
And so, when it's all said and done, like I said, there's a few things we need to do left to get.
Yeah, what's left to do here?
Obviously, we need to give the engine a good tune-up. Golf Cars is going to do that. There's an old wheel rim here that's rusted through. They
Yep.
painted the best they could, but I got another one.
Okay.
That's going to go on there. I've been looking for parts constantly on eBay to see
What do you need?
what's still out there.
Tell the universe here. Someone will come up with it.
I got one small 6-inch. What do they call those? Those baby moon rims.
Okay.
I got one 6-inch baby moon to go in there. I need one more.
Okay.
I found one in an antique shop in Illinois, but it was 7 inches. I brought it home and it didn't fit.
So what this is
So it's a little 6-inch.
6-inch.
They made them for Cushman golf carts.
Okay.
But when it gets done, they'll have that kind of that baby moon recessed in there, like an old police car would from the 70s or 80s. That's kind of what I wanted to go with. You know, a lot of the equipment in here is vintage to the 70s.
Yep.
But I thought it'd be kind of cool just to get the LED taillights, just to
Oh sure.
have that little edge of new mixed in with the old.
Mm-hmm. And then we just got the decals.
Yep. Bruce Purdy from Pleasant Hill. He does all of our squad car, police car decals and graphics for us, and he's always been real good about decaling and striping our D.A.R.E. cars for free. He just gives that to us. So I showed him this. He thought it was pretty cool. So he's going to do all the D.A.R.E. decals for free. So Acme Science has always been a real good supporter of the D.A.R.E. program. So after the interior is done and a few minor details on the engine, we'll get the vinyl on here, and hopefully we can get 1 or 2 more parades before the year's up, and if not, it'll be ready for next spring.
So I gotta ask you, you got probably one of the most tricked out tuk-tuks that we've seen.
This has been a project.
How do you like your chances in the competition?
In the competition, like I said, unless we get someone who really knows what they're doing with tuk-tuk engines, it's going to be a neat project sitting on the side of the road with everyone else passing me. But tell you what, it's going to look neat. And that's as far as I'm concerned, what the tuk-tuk goose chase is all about.
Yep.
It's all about getting the wows and the oh look at that from people. It's about something different and original, and I think it's going to be a great addition to it. one thing that's really cool is our Southeast Polk D.A.R.E program. D.A.R.E Brothers always donates vehicles for the Southeast Polk School Resource Program. One of the vehicles they've donated is a huge pickup police monster truck. This thing has huge tires and rims, and when this thing is entered into a parade along with that D.A.R.E vehicle, you're gonna have this big, huge.
So you have the big one and the little one.
And this little itty bitty thing in tow. So
that'll be awesome.
Kind of stoked about how that looks. But
all right, very cool, Adam. I appreciate you letting us come out, and we'll look forward to seeing you this year.
All right.